Well, hello and welcome to another edition 907 Sports, where it's all Alaska all the time. I'm Jordan Rodenberger. This is Tyler Lane, and this is 907 Sports. And it may not say it everywhere as far as temperatures go, but it is springtime, at least calendar-wise. We have reached spring now here.
Thankfully, as a Floridian, I am kind of happy to start seeing the white stuff start to fade away just a little bit, but we still do have some exciting Alaskan sports that kind of require it to get in before it all comes and goes. So still that time of year, excited to get into it.
Exactly. We're in March, and there's a lot of madness that comes with that, one might say. And we're actually like kind of at the peak of mushing season here in the state.
Certainly.
It is Iditarod week officially. That will get going this weekend, which of course we'll be talking plenty about on the broadcast here in the coming weeks. But we also are coming off, they'll be leaving downtown 4th Avenue here this weekend for the ceremonial start on Saturday. But they won't be the first teams that went down 4th Avenue and that new the new arch in the Mushing district, which is pretty cool. Some other teams took to that this past weekend for the Rondy Open World Sled Dog Championships. It's been like 80 years since 1946. Some of the fastest dogs in the world have gone down there, which is pretty awesome, pretty cool to think about. And for the longest time, the face of that race and really one of the icons of that sport was George Atla, the Hooslia Hustler, they called him. He won this race 10 times. Last was in 1982. Started in the late 50s, so just an absolute legend and icon in the sport and in the state beyond that, really. And that record, stood for nearly half a century and was never really threatened until recently. Canadian musher Buddy Streeper has strung together a series of victories in this race, and heading into it was tied with 10, and so there's a lot of talk, a lot of pressure on, can he do it this year? Will he get number 11? And that is what fans saw on Sunday. History being made. There he is. It's celebratory. Blaine Buddy Streeper, the new winningest musher in Open World Sled Dog Championship history, which of course has a lot of rich history, as we talked about. He dominated from day one, had the fastest time, and then that continued. He actually had like some of the fastest checkpoints and laps throughout each one. And so start to finish, Buddy Streeper now the winningest musher in this historic race. 11. Phil Jackson that's how many rings he has. 11 times for Buddy Blaine Streeper, and we got his thoughts pretty much immediately after that finish of making history.
This is the biggest race in the sport, in our sport. This is the World Championship. This has got all the history. It's got the most important trail. It's got the past champions. It's got all the spectators, and just the historical feature of beautiful downtown Anchorage in February and March for the Rendezvous is the pinnacle of our sport.
Finishing the 78-mile course in 4 hours, 16 minutes, 46 seconds. Doing anything like this one time obviously is impressive, but again, 11 times, no matter what sport it is, whether it's basketball, as you mentioned with Phil, or something like this with dog mushing, just incredible to see someone come back, do this so many times, and now etch themselves into the history books.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was pretty interesting is that it was 44 years ago when Atla won his last race, 1982, and that was the year Buddy Streeper was born. So a little coincidence in that aspect there. And so, which goes to say there's more races for Streeper to win here and maybe even make that record even more untouchable. But a lot of history, so that was pretty cool to see over the weekend. And then some, more mushing news as far as in the distance one, as well as we had the Junior Iditarod over the weekend. And tell me if this sounds familiar. Robinson wins the Junior Iditarod, and it's not Emily this time, it's Stanley Robinson. He gets the props, he gets the deserve there. His first year of entry, he's 14 years old, wins it with that fast dog team out of Robinson Racing Kennel. Those are some very competitive dogs, and they can cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. So shout out Stanley Robinson. That's 5 Robinsons winning that race in a row now. So, unfortunate for the other junior mushers, he's going to be in this race 3 more times as we expect. So, but it was great to see junior participation in this race. Keep that sport alive and growing for the future.
start clearing out some of the spaces on the shelves at the home for all the trophies they're bringing in and all the mushers and the Iditarod coming up. Better start watching. We know, obviously, Emily is thinking about running it here in the next year or so.
Yeah.
Now yet another one coming up. Come on now.
Yes.
This is getting wild. This is awesome.
Yes, 23 hours and 40 minutes for Stanley Robinson there, the 2026 Junior Iditarod champion. Now, it's also got hockey, skiing, we've seen some highlight championship races, but March, you definitely think of basketball. So I know there's been a lot of hoops and some of the regular seasons coming to a close, postseasons around the corner, and for some, playing their last basketball of the season or maybe even their careers.
Most definitely, and that was the case at UAA, UAF as well, but UAA for us here in Anchorage, getting a chance to check out, was really a very packed senior night for the regular season closure. Obviously, UAA men getting to continue their season, but just starting with them officially, obviously being Rusty Osborne's last home game of his career in a place where he's coached for over 3 decades.
Yeah.
That alone brought a lot into the night. And then you have 2 Alaskans, Bishop specifically, that have been mainstays for the program. Bishop Tosi, Hassan Harrington, the last couple years they've been playing. Of note, coming in today, Hassan Harrington named Defensive Player of the Year for the GNAC. So just another title to add on to him, as well as being named to the first team for the conference as well. But just in the chance that we saw, this was their last chance to etch their names in there, walk out of the building with a win. I'm going to show you the last 10 seconds of this game because it gets pretty crazy. So just give me a moment.
35 years is a long time, that.
You might have heard me there say, "Are you kidding me?" The way for that to end, as we finally get it up to you throughout all the button presses there. Just of all the ways for the season to end, and that was the unfortunate case throughout the entire night, as the women's team also took a loss on the night. But incredible game, obviously, to come down to. That was a battle of the 1 and 2 seeds in the GNAC. Rusty, as you can see there, a little more smiles. I think this was a situation where everyone's like, man, crazy. But that was the case again. Obviously, the men's team taking the loss there. Their season continues. They're not done just yet. They're going to be playing in the GNAC title, or not the GNAC title, they're in the playoffs currently. They'll face either UAF or Northwest Nazarene on March 6th, depending on how that matchup goes with the bye. On the women's side, though, as I just mentioned, their season's done. That brings a career of Elena Mack to a close. She ranks 3rd all-time in three-pointers, top 15 in points scored.
The pride of King Cove.
Yeah, absolutely crazy career. We had a chance to talk with all of these guys after the game. Let's hear what they said as their Seawolf careers, at least at home, come to a close.
35 years is a long time, somebody asked the other day, what is this? It's my life, I'm 62, it's 35 to 62. I'm an Alaskan. UAA is I've got all the great things in my life from here. My wife's from here. I met her, married her. We have our kids. Now my oldest married a beautiful young woman from Montana, and they gave us grandkids. So UAA has given me everything.
Me and Bishop came to a Kindle jump shot camp when we were in 3rd grade. There's a picture somewhere floating on the internet, but I've seen it around for years, and honestly didn't think I'd play here, but got the opportunity to. And so for all the stars that align like that is very special, especially with us having a good year. And so it's amazing.
Yeah, he's been a big part of the program. He is the program, really. So getting to know him, I know sometimes he might get a bad rap, but getting to know him, it's been a pleasure to play for him.
To end it here at UAA, how does it feel, knowing that you got to represent your hometown, your home team?
It's nice. It kind of feels full circle. I really don't see myself finishing out anywhere else. It's been really fun to have all my family around, all my friends at the games. There's a lot of love, and I appreciate it all.
Yeah, it feels like it's meant to be. They recruited us out of high school, but because of COVID, things didn't really align. And me and Bish both hit the portal at the same time, and we texted each other and was like, hey, trying to go home and make something happen. And so, luckily they wanted us to be here as well. And, wouldn't have it any other way. It's amazing. Like you said, having the community and family here, there's nothing like it. You won't get it anywhere else, especially here in your hometown.
I told her just a minute ago, she's left everything on the floor for this program. She didn't have to stay here, but she's left a lasting impact on a lot of our players and the program for sure.
kind of impact that I intended to leave was just someone that worked hard and like cared about the program. Like I've been here for a long time. This is my 6th and final year, so I grew to love it and care about it as much as anyone else could. So yeah, I just wanted to pass that on to my teammates so that when they're a senior that they understand how truly special this place really is. I hope I made a very big impact for those small girls that are in small communities like that, just to let them know that they're not stuck and they could dream big and play in the arenas like the Alaska Airlines Center in front of their hometown family and friends. So I hope that I made that impact on some kids for sure.
A lot of emotions there, obviously. It's kind of an end of an era in a couple different ways. We have the Coach Toon era beginning on the women's side, and then Lena Mack send off, and then on the men's side, of course, Hassan and Bishop on their way out, while Coach Rusty Osborne has been a staple of the program for decades, now on his way out too, as new eras on the way for UAA basketball.
Nature of college athletics, you just don't expect to see, in most cases, all these storylines kind of close around the same time. Obviously, last year when we saw Ryan McCarthy leave the women's program and Elena was the lone returner from last year's GNX squad coming back, you're like, okay, that one's kind of coming to a close around that time. And I think the Rusty situation this year suddenly threw that all into whack of like, oh man, like this is 2 incredible chapters along with all these players, along with the Tosis and the Hassans that are just like, it's hard to say that it's over, but the best part about college athletics is that just means there's more to come. And we're going to find whoever's next
That's right.
recruiting class, the next players,
Yes.
and we'll be following them obviously throughout their careers. But again, I mean, how about, especially, I look at that moment with Elena specifically, of her obviously very emotional after a loss like that. You want to go out in a different way, I'm sure, but to still have that moment, that standing ovation from the crowd to close out your career, I mean, that just kind of tells you the impact she's had.
I mean, one of the best high school careers, and then add the UAA chapter to it as well, like one of the leading scorers all time in girls basketball, 1A legend, King Cove legend. So salute to them, congrats to them. We're going to take a bit of a break here, but of course, maybe we'll see some more of these recruits and stuff in March Madness, Alaska basketball tournaments that we have coming up. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll be right back with more 907 Sports. Welcome back to 907 Sports, and we had touched on before the break a little bit about Rusty Osborne calling it a career after 35 years with the program, 22 as head coach. And similar as far as length of coaching career is Wasilla girls basketball coach Jeannie Hebert-Truax, and after a legendary playing and coaching career, she's actually going to have her swan song, her final season send off this year. She will be retiring from the sidelines, a little more quiet behind the scenes as far as that announcement has gone, but that's just her time on the sidelines will be coming to an end at Wasilla High, which is hard to believe after she began in the 90s as well. So it's been about 30 years, and it's amazing about her is she has a case of a couple different categories as the best girls basketball player the state has seen. As she was the first two-time player of the year in girls basketball and won state championships with Monroe, and then has the case of like the best college girls women's basketball player the state has seen, All-American at Division I University of Miami, and then has the case for one of the best high school coaches of all time in the state, with a handful of state championships and a crazy win percentage, over 600 career wins with Wasilla. So I did get a chance to catch up with her at practice this week, and we talked about all sorts of things from her playing days through her coaching career and such. So here's just a little bit about that interview, just a little preview of it.
30.
Well, when I first started coaching, someone said I was going to be coaching until I was 70, and I said, nah, not going to happen. Both my husband and I have retired from our work. I've been retired, this is my third year. He's been retired for like 7. We've got a big bucket list of things we want to do, and we want to do it before we can't do it anymore. So we're still, both of us are still in really good health, and we just want to be able to do some things. It was easy to do while I was still teaching. I retired from teaching because my son graduated, and he's almost getting ready to be done with college here, so it'll be a little more free time for us. So I knew when I graduated, I originally went for physical therapy, but then that lasted a semester and I went to mathematics. I liked science, but wasn't very good at it, unfortunately. So I kind of knew I wanted to come back. I wanted to probably be a math teacher. Both my dad was a math teacher and a principal. And then obviously I knew I had some wisdom to give in the game of basketball, so I figured, hey, I might as well coach. So my last year in Miami, I sent out resumes to different schools, and I came and visited them that summer. I was talking to Lenny Lusk here at Wasilla, and I asked, he had an opening, and I'm like, well, when can you interview for it? And he's like, like August 20th. And I'm like, well, I tell you what, I'm gonna be caribou hunting. So when I get back out, I'll give you a call. Is the job still there? So when I got out, my mom had a note for me to call him. Called him, he offered me the job, and I took it. And I've been here ever since. Well, I just think the rewards are when I see kids that I coached 25 years ago that come back and watch us play at the Doc Larson, or just in games over the years. I have a lot of players that have come back. I have parents that still come to games of kids that graduated in '03. I've got some people in the stands that come to watch my games that have been doing it, and I think the rewards of taking care of themselves by just being myself, knowing what my expectations are, living by my ethics, making my kids live by my morals and my ethics, and I think doing it the right way, and things have paid off. And like I said, I've been very successful and never intended it to be like that, but it's just kind of nutrition that way.
An incredible career, truly, and all the players that she's impacted in that time. I just think about right now, obviously you saw the clips from some of her more recent teams here. You've got Layla Hayes, obviously, that's been balling out at Iowa, who we've seen this season, just a freshman making an impact. Miley Henderson, obviously one of the members of that UAA team that played big games as a freshman. And most notably, you saw a coach there at almost every one of her games rocking the Miley Henderson jersey. Yeah. So one of those coaches that even after your time in the red and white was done, the support doesn't stop both ways.
No, the Divine, those Wasilla names, she coached them, had an impact on it, and calling it a coaching career for now, but has had left quite the impact and legacy. It's amazing. I was counting. She's a part of 4 Hall of Fames, which like just goes to show that resume. The Alaska Sports Hall of Fame, the Alaska High School Sports Hall of Fame, the Alaska Association of Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame, and the University of Miami Sports Hall of Fame as a player, a pioneer really in the women's and girls basketball in the state, and then she continued that in her coaching days. So pretty amazing. That's just a snippet. We'll have full story later tonight in the late edition, and then maybe give you the full interview later on as well. Got about 5 or so minutes left in this edition of 907 Sports. Anything else you want to touch about? I mean, we got all the winter sports taken care of, but that doesn't mean there's lack of other things going on as well.
Yeah, we'll send things out with a bang, a little bit of a fisticuff, if you will, if you checked in over the weekend and saw the Golden Gloves tournament that happened over at Baggage Middle School there. This is the Golden Gloves tournament. These boxers, most of them with the Alaska Boxing Academy, who we've covered before, and others saw SWDP, Student Wrestling Development Program, kids from as young as this to we saw some of the older crowd out there as well, putting in the work. These boxers all competing for a chance to go to the Golden Gloves regional tournament that'll be in Tacoma, Washington here in just a little bit. And we saw some incredible bouts, some incredible fights. One of the biggest notorieties that we saw, obviously, David Carey continuing the work he's been doing since his work in the 2008 Olympics, coming back here and really propping up the Alaska boxing community, being a real driver for it, obviously having an event like this here, a major boom. And then some of the people that he helped bring into this tournament, if these names sound familiar, you got Joe Cortez, who was in the Rocky Balboa movies back in the day, and then you've also got a 2-time world champion, Sean Porter, coming in, who was handing out the belts. And also, I saw every once in a while, at the end of these fights, giving his mentorship, like, hey, great job. Like, to hear those words from such big name members of this sport and this community, as well as Carey himself, who's a coach in the day-to-day anyway, pretty big stuff. We had a chance to talk to all of them. Carey specifically mentioning this isn't the only time this event's going to happen. This isn't a one-time thing. The hope now is that with all the work they put in, this continues, and it's impressed the attendees.
Now we're a sub-franchise of the Golden Gloves. It took us about 4 months to really get this thing put together, and we did pretty good for 4 months' time. And so now we're going to have a whole year to plan, a whole year to get more sponsors and donors and more support. Next year is going to be even bigger and better.
I mean, incredible is really the word. There's been some incredible fights. There's been a lot of skill and tenacity being displayed today. And I always tell people you don't have to impress me, but I am impressed.
Pretty awesome, and you just wonder, like, where would Alaska boxing or Anchorage boxing be without Coach Carey, and how much he's done and the impact he's had on that sport in this state.
And I gotta say, I was impressed too with some of the bouts. Like, it wasn't just, obviously you saw the littler kids that that put on the gloves, but when you see some of the step-ups, it wasn't just like, oh, these are 3-round bouts of stuff. Like, no, some of these guys were going at it. I saw someone get TKO'd in the first round. I mean, obviously can't show too much of that, but, like, I was really impressed with just some of the things that you see, and not only that, but being able to unite. That's one of the biggest things Carey's just talked about, is not just bringing in the Alaska Boxing Academy, but as I mentioned, SWTP. You saw some of the other boxing communities that have kind of formed in other parts of the state kind of come together. This was really the first time I think we've seen the events like that in state. We've seen them maybe at otherwhere, but to have this happen in the state at one of the main events in the city, it's awesome. And it's something, obviously, that now we get to see continue more in the future.
No, and it's not the first sport you think of when you think of Alaska sports, but, I mean, it's Olympic sport, and it's only growing with that community there. And that'll do it for this edition of 907 Sports. Next time you see us may not be here. We may be on the trail. We may be elsewhere in other parts of Alaska with the Iditarod getting underway. Of course, we'll have full coverage both here on these streaming platforms and traditional broadcasting, and of course our website as well. So looking forward to bringing you all those stories.
Any stops on the Iditarod Trail you're really looking forward to this year?
Well, do get to do. It's early, so it's not as far as the action goes. But Rainy Pass we'll get to do this year, and only heard beautiful things about that. So looking forward to bringing you that, and that'll be Monday. So stay tuned, and we'll bring you more from the 907 on 907 Sports. Thank you. We'll catch you next time.
See you guys later.